Beneath the vast frozen sheets of our planet, something astonishing stirs. Rivers flow in total darkness, unseen and silent, carrying secrets as old as ice itself. Imagine streams moving swiftly under Antarctica or Greenland, never touched by the sun, shaping the world in ways we are only beginning to understand. These hidden rivers are not myths. They are real, and tonight, they will carry us into wonder, and perhaps, into your deepest sleep. Welcome, dear listener, to the Thoughtful Night. Here, we let science unfold like a lullaby, gentle and unhurried, weaving curiosity into calm. Tonight's story is called The Hidden Rivers Flowing Under Ice, and it will be our guide through stillness, silence, and discovery. If you find peace in this journey, I invite you to softly subscribe to The Thoughtful Night. It helps this space remain a home for those who wander between knowledge and rest. And if you'd like, leave a comment below telling me where you are listening from tonight. Perhaps curled up under blankets, perhaps under a starlit sky, or perhaps in a quiet room, where the only sound is your own breath. It always feels like these stories connect listeners across the world, flowing like rivers themselves. Now let the day slip away. Let thoughts settle like snow, one by one, until the mind feels quiet. You are safe here. You are welcome here. And tonight, together, we will descend into a world beneath the ice. Picture, if you will, an endless expanse of white, the surface of Antarctica stretching beyond sight. To stand there is to feel silence made solid, as though time itself has slowed to the pace of falling snow. But deep beneath that silence, movement persists. There, in the dark, rivers flow. They do not glitter, for no sunlight reaches them. They do not roar, for their sounds are buried under miles of ice. Yet they are alive, currents in secret passageways, carving, feeding, shaping. For centuries, no one knew they existed. To the explorers trudging across frozen plains, the world seemed still, eternal, unmoving. And yet, under their very feet, water traveled in darkness, as steady as breath. Only in recent decades have scientists begun to map these hidden rivers, to listen with radar and satellite to the whispers of water in places no human hand has touched. Tonight, we will follow them. We will let them guide us, like slow dreams, across a hidden landscape of pressure and flow, of silence and motion. We will meet not just rivers, but lakes sealed for millions of years, microbes that live without sunlight, and currents that remind us of oceans far beyond Earth. So settle in. Close your eyes if you wish. Let the stillness of ice and the gentle motion of rivers meet in your imagination. For here, beneath the frozen world, something timeless awaits, and we are about to enter its flow. There are places on Earth where silence feels absolute. Picture yourself standing on a frozen expanse, perhaps in Antarctica or Greenland, surrounded by a horizon that stretches endlessly in every direction. The air is so still that it almost hums, a vibration of nothingness pressing gently on your ears. The sky above is pale, sometimes a sheet of unbroken gray, sometimes a dome of piercing blue, and the ground beneath your feet is solid, white, and ancient. To stand here is to stand in a place that feels unmoving, eternal, locked away from the restless rhythms of rivers, forests, and oceans elsewhere on Earth. But appearances, as always in nature, can be deceiving. For beneath this frozen world, under miles of ice that weigh down upon the planet like an ancient blanket, something extraordinary is happening. Hidden rivers are flowing, winding their way in darkness, far below the surface. While your eyes see only silence, your imagination can begin to sense the restless currents moving invisibly beneath your feet. It is a paradox of opposites. Above, there is stillness, quiet, and the frozen passage of time. Below, there is motion, soundless energy, and water that refuses to remain still. The very idea that rivers might exist under thick ice would have once seemed impossible. After all, rivers on the surface depend on melting snow, on rainfall, on warmth that lets water move freely across valleys and plains. How could such things be true in the coldest places on Earth, where temperatures plunge far below freezing? And yet, nature, in its quiet persistence, finds ways to surprise us. The first hints came not from explorers trudging across the surface, for to them, everything seemed unchanging, but from the minds of scientists who began to ask difficult questions. How does a glacier thousands of meters thick move at all? Ice is solid, but glaciers slide, inch by inch, grinding against rock, shaping valleys, carving the face of Earth itself. Something had to help that motion. Something had to make the base slippery enough for mountains of frozen time to shift and flow. The answer, as it turned out, was water. Not water trickling on the surface in sunlight, but water pressed into existence far below. The weight of the ice itself creates heat, a gentle warmth born from pressure, friction, and even the slow breathing of Earth's geothermal energy. That heat is enough to melt just a thin layer, enough to make liquid appear where only ice should exist. And once water is there, gravity pulls it into motion. What begins as a trickle grows into channels, and channels into rivers. Entire networks form, hidden from the sun, carving paths that no human eye has directly seen. Scientists first began to suspect this when they noticed strange movements in the ice itself. Some glaciers surged forward faster than expected, as though they were gliding on something slippery. Others seemed to pause and then lurch, as though responding to unseen floods below. Later, in the 20th century, radar instruments capable of penetrating ice revealed smooth, reflective surfaces far beneath the sheets. These were the signatures of liquid water. The more researchers looked, the more they discovered. Rivers winding hundreds of kilometers beneath the ice, pooling into hidden lakes, draining and filling in cycles that echoed the behavior of rivers we know on the surface. Imagine it. Rivers that flow for centuries without ever meeting the sky. They do not glisten in sunlight. They do not ripple in the wind. They move quietly, relentlessly, in the dark. Above them, a frozen silence so complete it might lull you into believing that nothing changes here. Yet below, a world in motion, secret currents shaping the continent from within. This paradox, stillness above, movement below, is one of the great wonders of our planet. It asks us to look more deeply, to understand that what we see on the surface is never the whole story. Just as thoughts stir beneath a calm expression, just as roots spread beneath a quiet tree, so too does water move beneath the frozen crust of Earth. To walk across Antarctica is to feel as though you are in a cathedral of silence. Every step crunches softly, swallowed by the vastness around you. The wind may sweep across now and then, carrying with it the cold breath of the ancient ice, but mostly there is quiet. And yet, if you could somehow listen deeply enough, if you could press your ear to the heart of the glacier, perhaps you would hear it. The faint, liquid murmur of rivers, sliding through their secret channels, carrying with them sediments, nutrients, and the restless energy of Earth's hidden waters. There is something soothing about this image. To know that even in places where everything seems frozen and still, there is movement. To know that beneath the silence, life, or at least the possibility of life, persists in motion. These rivers are like the subconscious of the planet, unseen but essential, shaping landscapes in ways we have only begun to understand. Scientists continue to explore these hidden rivers not by digging directly to them, but by listening with tools, by reading the subtle signals of ice as it moves. It is a slow, careful science, one that mirrors the patience of the rivers themselves. They flow in darkness, without hurry, carving their way through rock and sediment, carrying secrets that may remain sealed for thousands of years. And yet, through radar echoes and satellite maps, we glimpse their existence. We are reminded, again, that Earth holds mysteries far below the surface we walk upon. As you rest tonight, let yourself drift into this paradox. Imagine the stillness above, endless snow, frozen plains, the hush of wind. And then, beneath that silence, imagine the steady current of rivers flowing where no sunlight has ever reached. One layer resting upon another, silence over motion, stillness over restlessness. It is a lesson in balance, in patience, in the hidden rhythms of the world. And so, the chapter closes where it began, in silence. Above, the world appears unchanged, timeless, eternal. Below, rivers move ceaselessly, shaping, carrying, whispering in darkness. Between the two, we stand, aware now of what lies hidden, humbled by what flows unseen. When you picture a glacier, imagine not just a frozen surface, but a body of unimaginable weight pressing down upon the world. Ice is not light, not delicate, not the fragile thing you see melting in a glass of water. A glacier is the accumulation of centuries, of snow upon snow, compacted into something dense and powerful. To stand near one is to feel the scale of time itself, layered into hardness, pressing with a weight so immense it changes the very shape of the land below. In Antarctica, the ice sheet can be over 4 kilometers thick. Picture that for a moment. Mile upon mile of frozen water, a column so heavy that if it were removed, the ground beneath would slowly rise, like a chest relieved of a burden. The ice is not just sitting there. It is pressing, squeezing, and reshaping the earth under its body. Beneath this pressure, something extraordinary begins to happen. Something that seems, at first glance, impossible. For all its coldness, the base of a glacier is not always frozen. The sheer force of that much ice pressing downward creates warmth. Pressure alone can lower the melting point of water, allowing ice to turn liquid even in places where the temperature is well below freezing. Add to that the constant friction of the glacier moving, ice grinding against rock, ice crystals sliding over one another, and suddenly the bottom of the glacier is alive with heat. And beneath all of this, Earth itself contributes a steady warmth, rising from its deep interior in the form of geothermal heat. It is this combination, pressure, friction, and geothermal breath, that allows rivers to be born under ice. What seems like a frozen tomb from above is, in fact, a cradle for flowing water. Gravity does the rest. Once liquid appears, it seeks a path downward, sliding along the bedrock, finding channels, carving new ones. Over time, these paths expand into networks of rivers, some stretching for hundreds of kilometers, feeding subglacial lakes, draining them, and carrying sediments across the continent's hidden floor. The idea that such rivers could exist in total darkness speaks to the resilience of water itself. Water does not easily surrender. It adapts, it changes, it takes the shape of its container. Under pressure, it becomes liquid when we expect it to be solid. Under silence, it becomes motion when we expect stillness. Water has been called the blood of Earth, and here, beneath glaciers, it pulses unseen, keeping hidden landscapes alive. Think of the breath of Earth rising from below. Deep within the crust, radioactive elements decay, releasing warmth slowly, patiently, across millions of years. This geothermal heat does not roar like a volcano or crack the surface with fire. Instead, it whispers upward, a steady exhale from the body of the planet. It meets the ice at its base, softening it, urging a thin film of water into being. In this way, Earth itself participates in the creation of hidden rivers, breathing life into the darkness below. Scientists have measured this breath. By drilling shallow cores into the ice, by studying how glaciers slide, by placing sensors that listen to the creaks and groans of ice sheets, they have pieced together the story of water's quiet persistence. Radar surveys reveal bright reflections deep under the ice, a sign of liquid lying flat, smooth as glass. Sometimes these are lakes, vast and sealed, but often they are networks of rivers, winding and shifting, filling and draining with a rhythm all their own. To think of rivers here is to expand our idea of what a river can be. These are not streams under sunlight, with dragonflies skimming their surface and willows trailing their leaves. These are rivers in darkness, squeezed between ice and stone, flowing without air, without sky, without sound. And yet they obey the same laws. Gravity pulls them. Channels deepen as water moves through them. Sediments are carried, deposited, reworked. Even without light, the fundamental logic of water continues. Pause for a moment and imagine lying down on the surface of a glacier, your ear pressed gently against the cold. You would hear nothing, perhaps only the soft whistle of the wind above. And yet, if your senses could stretch deeper, if you could listen through miles of frozen time, you might hear the slow gurgle of a hidden river. You might hear it rushing through a tight channel, or spreading quietly into a vast subglacial lake. Beneath the silence, there is always motion. It is humbling to realize how much of this world exists beyond our perception. We walk upon the ice and see only stillness, but beneath, there is flow. We live our lives on the surface of continents, rarely considering what moves below. But the truth is that Earth is always breathing, always shifting, always carrying hidden currents of energy and motion. The rivers beneath ice are one of the most beautiful examples of this, invisible, patient, but powerful enough to shape entire landscapes over millennia. When scientists study these hidden flows, they see not only geology and hydrology but also the story of balance. For every weight, there is a counterforce. For every stillness, a movement. For every silence, a hidden sound. The glaciers press down with unimaginable mass, but from that pressure comes liquid motion. Earth breathes upward with geothermal heat, and the ice responds by releasing rivers. This interplay, this dialogue between ice and stone, between pressure and flow, is what keeps the hidden rivers alive. As you rest tonight, you might think of your own breath, steady and quiet, rising and falling without effort. The glaciers too breathe, in their own way, slowly, invisibly, but no less real. Each exhale of heat from Earth's interior is a reminder that even the coldest places are touched by warmth. Each drop of water that melts beneath the ice is proof that nothing is ever fully still. And so, we return to the paradox. On the surface, the ice appears immovable, a frozen desert locked outside of time. But beneath, the weight itself gives birth to motion. Pressure, friction, and warmth combine to create rivers that no eye has seen. Rivers that move with patience. Rivers that remind us that even under the heaviest burdens, flow finds a way. Not every river sparkles in sunlight. Some never meet the dawn at all. Beneath miles of glacial ice, there are rivers that have flowed for thousands of years in complete darkness, hidden from sky, shielded from moonlight, untouched by stars. They are wanderers in the underworld of Earth, coursing unseen through frozen silence. To imagine them is to stretch the mind, because rivers as we know them are creatures of light. On the surface, we picture streams flashing silver in the sun. We hear the voices of waterfalls tumbling over stones. We see mist rising where sunlight warms the spray. But in the world beneath ice, no such scenes exist. Here, rivers move quietly, invisible, without glitter, without reflection. They are defined not by light but by the persistence of flow. These rivers are sometimes vast, stretching for hundreds of kilometers. Some link hidden lakes together, acting like highways in a secret network. Others thread through narrow channels, hugging the rocky bed beneath the ice, winding unseen curves like veins through the body of the continent. They carve and they carry, just as surface rivers do, but their work is unseen by human eyes. If you could travel there in imagination, you would see not rushing torrents lit by daylight, but slow currents pressed between walls of ice and rock. The water would be dark as obsidian, yet alive with motion. The ceilings above would be ice, faintly groaning under pressure. The bed below would be stone, worn smooth by centuries of flow. And you would know that you stood in a river that had never seen the sky. Scientists compare these rivers to the blood vessels of Earth. Just as veins and arteries move beneath skin, carrying life silently from one place to another, so do these under-ice channels move water beneath the frozen crust. They distribute heat, they transport sediments, they connect hidden lakes, and in doing so, they shape the continent in ways that surface stillness conceals. Without them, the ice above would behave differently. With them, the entire glacier is influenced, slipping, shifting, gliding slowly toward the sea. The beauty of these hidden rivers lies not just in their existence, but in their paradox. They are both fragile and powerful. A single channel might be only a few meters wide, but its flow can redirect the motion of ice miles thick. A thin trickle beneath pressure can change the speed of a glacier's advance. In this way, tiny unseen currents alter the face of Earth itself. For much of human history, no one suspected such rivers. Explorers believed Antarctica and Greenland were silent fortresses of frozen time, unchanging and immovable. Yet the evidence grew with patience. Some glaciers behaved strangely, surging forward as if lubricated, then pausing as if the source of motion had drained away. Such mysteries hinted at the presence of water. Later, radar revealed smooth reflectors beneath the ice, clear signals of liquid surfaces. Slowly, the map of hidden rivers came into focus, though it remains incomplete, like fragments of a dream we are still piecing together. To dwell on these rivers is to reflect on hiddenness itself. The world is full of unseen motions, processes that unfold quietly beneath the surfaces we walk upon. Roots spreading under soil, faults shifting beneath mountains, thoughts moving silently beneath calm expressions. Subglacial rivers are part of this same truth. The most powerful forces are often the ones we cannot see. There is also a quiet poetry in their darkness. On the surface, life depends on light. Plants stretch upward. Animals follow the rhythms of day and night. But in these rivers, flow continues without light, unlit but unbroken. It is a reminder that water is patient, adaptive, eternal in its own way. Even when denied sunlight, even when locked under ice, it finds a way to move. Imagine drifting to sleep with this image in mind. Above you, layers upon layers of ice, miles thick, pressing downward in silence. Around you, darkness so complete that no shape or shadow can be seen. And yet, at your feet, water glides, cool, steady, persistent, carrying with it grains of stone, whispers of heat, and the memory of Earth's deep time. You float, not in fear, but in wonder. For here, in the darkest places, flow still exists. Scientists continue to study these rivers not just for curiosity, but because they matter to the whole planet. They influence how glaciers move, how sea levels rise, how sediments are transported into oceans. They connect to the story of climate, of change, of balance. And yet, they remain invisible to direct sight. We know them through instruments, through echoes, through patterns, not through our own eyes. They remain mysterious, reminding us that much of Earth will always stay beyond reach. In some ways, these rivers are mirrors of ourselves. We too carry hidden currents beneath the surface, thoughts, feelings, quiet movements of the mind. Just as the ice conceals water, so do calm exteriors conceal inner lives. And just as the hidden rivers shape glaciers, so too do hidden currents shape who we are. To rest with this thought is to honor the unseen, to respect the power of what flows quietly within. At the close of this chapter, let yourself drift deeper into that darkness. Picture rivers moving silently, endlessly, beneath frozen deserts of ice. Imagine their patience, their steadiness, their quiet refusal to stop. They are rivers that do not see the sun, yet they endure, shaping the world in secret. Let their constancy reassure you. Even in silence, there is motion. Even in darkness, there is flow. And in that flow, there is peace. Beneath the ice, in the rivers that never see the sun, life persists in ways we are only beginning to understand. To the human eye, these waters might seem barren, dark, cold, isolated. Yet, within them, there exists a hidden vitality, a network of microorganisms eking out an existence in conditions that would appear impossible. These are the extremophiles. Life forms that flourish in the extreme, thriving where warmth is scarce, light is absent, and pressure is immense. Imagine a river flowing in total darkness, flowing beneath kilometers of ice, yet alive with invisible motion. Each drop of water carries microscopic communities, each particle of sediment a tiny universe. They move with the current, finding nutrients, exchanging chemicals, sustaining themselves in a dance older than human memory. The river becomes more than a channel of water. It becomes a vessel of life, a silent ecosystem hidden from sight. These organisms survive without sunlight, without photosynthesis. They extract energy from minerals in the rocks, from chemical reactions in water, from the subtle warmth of Earth itself. This is chemosynthesis, a process that turns the planet's hidden resources into fuel for life. Where surface rivers teem with green plants and algae, these subglacial rivers hum with invisible life, unseen yet persistent. In their survival, they teach us a profound truth. Life is adaptable, patient, and quietly enduring. Scientists have begun to uncover these ecosystems by collecting water and sediments from subglacial rivers and lakes. When they peer into the samples under microscopes, they see shapes moving, reproducing, surviving against all odds. Bacteria, archaea, and other microbes have evolved strategies so alien that they almost feel like creatures from another world. Some metabolize chemicals that humans cannot even taste or see. Others can withstand the crushing pressure beneath thousands of meters of ice. And yet, all of them rely on the flowing water to sustain their tiny communities. Consider the rivers themselves as more than conduits of water. They are highways of nutrients. As the currents move beneath the ice, they scrape rock, carry dissolved minerals, sweep organic particles into hidden lakes. They distribute resources that allow these extremophiles to thrive. Life is not static here. It is carried along, shaped by the unseen architecture of subglacial channels, moving slowly, persistently, endlessly. In the vast isolation of these rivers, evolution unfolds differently than it does on the surface. Microbes can remain undisturbed for millions of years, adapting to conditions that never change. Time flows differently when life is hidden, when it is protected from sunlight, storms, and the chaotic rhythms of seasons. These rivers preserve life in its simplest, most resilient form, reminding us that the biosphere extends far beyond the places we can easily observe. The presence of life beneath ice also raises questions about other worlds. If organisms can survive without sunlight, without warmth, beneath kilometers of frozen rock and ice, what might exist beneath the icy shells of moons like Europa or Enceladus? Could these hidden rivers on Earth be miniature models of alien ecosystems, lessons in resilience and adaptation? In every microbial cell flowing under the ice, there is a story of survival that transcends this planet, a whisper of what might exist elsewhere in the cosmos. The rivers themselves seem alive, carrying not just water, but potential. They carry nutrients to microbial communities that alter the chemistry of the water, that modify sediments and create microscopic landscapes in the darkness. Everything is connected. The flow of the river sustains life, and life, in turn, interacts with the flow, subtly reshaping it over time. It is a delicate balance, a hidden symbiosis, unfolding quietly beneath our awareness. Imagine drifting through this world. The waters are dark, the channels winding beneath ice, but everywhere, there is motion. Microbes cling to sediments, float in currents, metabolize, reproduce, die, and leave traces that will persist for eons. A river that looks silent from above is alive with activity at the microscopic level. And as you imagine this hidden vibrancy, you might feel a sense of wonder, a reminder of the complexity and resilience of life itself. These hidden waters also hold the memory of Earth's past. Sediments transported by subglacial rivers contain fragments of ancient plants, microorganisms, and chemical signatures from eras long before humans walked the surface. In a sense, the rivers are time capsules. They preserve both life and history, storing information in the sediments and water they carry. Each flow is a continuation of that history, a living record of the interactions between ice, rock, water, and life. As you lie down, preparing for sleep, picture these rivers flowing quietly beneath kilometers of ice. Picture the tiny organisms clinging to particles, surviving in darkness, adapting in isolation, enduring across millennia. Think of the resilience they embody, how life finds a way even where conditions are harshest, where survival seems impossible, where silence dominates the surface. Let that thought settle within you, a quiet meditation on the persistence of life, the patience of nature, and the hidden currents that flow beneath what we see. The rivers beneath the ice remind us that life is not always grand or visible. Sometimes it is small, almost imperceptible, yet essential. Sometimes it moves in darkness, away from eyes and light, yet shapes the world over time. And just as these rivers carry life beneath the ice, perhaps there are currents of possibility, patience, and wonder flowing quietly beneath our own conscious minds, waiting to be noticed if we pause, listen, and imagine. And so, in the dark channels beneath glaciers, life continues. It moves, adapts, and persists. It whispers to us across time, across ice, across space, reminding us that the hidden and the unseen are often the most extraordinary. In these waters, in these silent rivers, the story of resilience is written, flowing endlessly beneath the frozen world above. Look up at the night sky. Among the stars, hidden behind the faint shimmer of distant light, are worlds that echo the secret rivers of our own planet. Moons like Europa, orbiting Jupiter, and Enceladus, circling Saturn, are coated in thick layers of ice, frozen surfaces that hide vast oceans beneath. In these distant places, far from the warmth of our sun, water flows in darkness, currents moving silently under layers of ice, in ways that mirror the hidden rivers beneath Antarctica and Greenland. The thought is almost dizzying. Here on Earth, we walk upon glaciers, unaware of the rivers coursing below. Yet, far beyond our planet, there are other frozen worlds, where oceans might flow beneath kilometers of ice, where currents could move unceasingly in total darkness. It is a humbling reminder of how interconnected knowledge can be, that by studying the hidden rivers here, we glimpse what might exist elsewhere in the cosmos. Europa, with its cracked icy shell, shows signs of an ocean beneath that is at least as deep as our own. Scientists speculate that currents there could circulate nutrients, mix heat from the moon's interior, and perhaps create environments where life might exist, much like the microbial life in Earth's subglacial rivers. Enceladus, smaller and more distant, sprays water and ice into space through geysers along its south pole, revealing a subsurface ocean below. These jets are hints, glimpses of movement and energy beneath frozen exteriors, just as radar hints at water beneath Earth's glaciers. To think of these moons is to expand the mind. Imagine rivers flowing without sunlight, without warmth from a star, carving channels through icy darkness for centuries or millennia. They carry chemicals, minerals, perhaps even life. They exist in isolation, in silence, in a world that seems inhospitable by human standards. Yet within them, motion persists. The currents of Europa and Enceladus might be connected to life forms that evolved in ways that we can barely imagine, thriving in conditions that test the very definition of living. The hidden rivers of Earth become a kind of practice ground for imagination, a laboratory in which we explore the principles that govern life in darkness. By understanding how water flows beneath ice, how nutrients move, how microbial life adapts, scientists can hypothesize about the potential for life beyond our planet. The chemistry of water, the energy from pressure, the interaction with rock and minerals, all these lessons are borrowed from our glacial rivers, applied to moons orbiting other worlds. There is also a poetic resonance in this connection. On Earth, rivers hidden beneath ice teach us patience, resilience, and the quiet persistence of life. On distant moons, frozen oceans whisper similar stories, waiting to be discovered. In both cases, life or its possibility is shielded by layers of ice, shielded by time, hidden from direct observation. Yet in both cases, we sense that motion, energy, and potential exist, unseen, silent, and extraordinary. Imagine drifting above the icy crust of Europa, your mind floating in zero gravity, and beneath the surface, currents circulate through darkness. Perhaps they carry nutrients from the rocky seafloor, where heat from the moon's interior seeps upward. Perhaps microorganisms, tiny and resilient, drift along these currents, surviving without light, creating ecosystems that mirror the extremophiles in Earth's hidden rivers. These parallels invite awe, a reminder that life is adaptive, patient, and persistent. The moons also expand our understanding of what a river can be. On Earth, a river is defined by flowing water, by channels carved in stone, by currents that shape landscapes. On Europa or Enceladus, the definition stretches, currents of liquid beneath ice, flowing in zero gravity, guided by the physics of pressure and tides rather than mountains and valleys. Yet in essence, they are the same, movement within a medium, energy traveling silently, shaping the environment in subtle ways. Our hidden rivers provide a roadmap for thinking about these other worlds. By studying ice thickness, pressure, and the behavior of subglacial lakes, scientists can model what currents beneath Europa's ice might look like, how nutrients might circulate, and what forms of life could survive. The frozen rivers beneath our feet become not only a scientific curiosity but a cosmic bridge, connecting Earth to moons hundreds of millions of kilometers away. There is also wonder in the isolation. Like the subglacial rivers on Earth, the oceans beneath Europa and Enceladus have been cut off from sunlight, storms, and external disturbances for long spans of time. They are self-contained systems, evolving quietly, persistently, in darkness. To imagine them is to imagine the patience of water, the endurance of motion, the possibility of life surviving in forms we have yet to see. And yet, these hidden waters are not lifeless. Just as subglacial rivers on Earth sustain microbial ecosystems, these distant oceans may harbor chemistry capable of supporting life. Perhaps currents distribute nutrients, perhaps pockets of warmth allow chemical reactions, perhaps, in the dark silence, life pulses, quietly, invisibly. We cannot see it, but we can imagine it. We can imagine it because we have seen the rivers beneath our own ice, flowing unseen yet alive, teaching us that where there is water, there is potential. So as you rest tonight, let your mind wander beyond Earth. Picture the frozen rivers beneath Greenland and Antarctica, and let them extend outward, past the night sky, past the orbit of planets, to moons shimmering faintly in the dark. Imagine currents moving beneath ice, unseen yet persistent, carrying life or the possibility of life, connecting water, pressure, and energy across worlds. In this vision, the hidden rivers of Earth become a mirror, reflecting the silent, patient movement of water in places far beyond our reach, teaching us about resilience, persistence, and wonder. And as you drift towards sleep, let the thought linger. Rivers do not need sunlight to exist, life does not need observation to persist, and motion continues, quietly, beneath surfaces we cannot see. From Earth to Europa, from Greenland to Enceladus, the hidden waters flow, whispering secrets of persistence, potential, and the remarkable capacity of nature to endure. To know what lies beneath miles of ice, we cannot rely on sight alone. Our eyes, accustomed to surfaces, fail when confronted with kilometers of frozen silence. Yet human curiosity, patient and unyielding, has devised ways to pierce the frozen veil, to listen to what cannot be touched, to map what cannot be walked upon. In the search for hidden rivers beneath glaciers, science has become both detective and dreamer, blending precision with imagination. The first hints came from observing the glaciers themselves. Scientists noticed subtle shifts, glacial surges, unexpected speed changes. Ice that seemed immobile would suddenly lurch forward, only to slow again, as though responding to invisible currents beneath. These movements were the first whispers of rivers hidden under tons of ice, evidence that liquid flowed where none should exist. The ice itself was speaking, if only we could learn to listen. Radar became the translator. Ice-penetrating radar sends pulses downward, through the frozen layers, and listens for echoes. Smooth surfaces beneath the ice reflect the signals differently than jagged rock. A hidden river or lake becomes visible in the data, a bright signature in the darkness. Through these echoes, scientists began to trace the paths of rivers, mapping networks that stretch for hundreds of kilometers, hidden from sunlight, hidden from all direct observation. Satellites, too, became eyes in the sky, though not eyes that see water directly. Instead, they measure the subtle movements of the ice surface, its rise, its fall, its slow glide. These movements betray what lies below. Glaciers that flow faster in some places reveal lubrication from hidden rivers. Slight uplifts suggest subglacial lakes filling and draining. By combining radar with satellite observations, researchers create maps of invisible rivers, charts of water flowing in total darkness. The process is slow and meticulous. Unlike surface rivers, which we can touch, photograph, and sample, subglacial rivers resist direct contact. Every data point must be carefully interpreted, every anomaly cross-checked, every model refined. Scientists act as patient listeners, attuned to the subtle language of ice. They follow currents not with boats but with equations, simulations, and radar pulses. The rivers themselves dictate the pace of discovery. They cannot be hurried, only observed with care. Drilling adds another layer of understanding. In some locations, scientists bore through ice sheets to reach subglacial lakes or to measure water pressure and chemistry. These samples reveal microbial life, sediments, and water composition. They confirm what instruments suggested. Beneath the frozen desert, rivers flow, carrying both life and history. Even then, access is limited. The ice resists pushing back, reminding us of the scale and isolation of these hidden systems. There is poetry in this patient search. To map the invisible is to meditate on silence and persistence. Each pulse of radar, each calculation, each carefully drilled core is a dialogue with a world we cannot see. The hidden rivers have always been there, flowing without observation, shaping landscapes, distributing nutrients, and patiently moving across the continent. Science does not create them. It merely attunes itself to their quiet signals. As we refine our instruments, we learn more about the rhythm of the rivers. Some flow continuously, others pulse seasonally, responding to the melting at the ice surface or the slow shifting of the glacier above. Currents carry sediments that have lain undisturbed for millennia, revealing stories of past climates and ancient landscapes. The rivers beneath ice are archives as much as they are conduits. History in motion, invisible yet accessible through careful listening. The invisible rivers remind us that much of the world operates beyond direct observation. Just as microbes thrive without sunlight, just as rivers flow without eyes to see them, our planet is filled with hidden motion, waiting for those willing to look beyond the surface. In this way, the search for subglacial rivers becomes a meditation, a reminder that presence does not require visibility, that life, movement, and energy exist even where we cannot witness them. There is also humility in this work. To map hidden rivers is to recognize the limits of human perception, to accept that much of Earth moves unseen, silently shaping our world without our knowledge. Yet it is also hope that patience, ingenuity, and careful observation can reveal secrets previously hidden. Each new discovery is a testament to the power of curiosity, to the ability of the mind to perceive what the eye cannot, to imagine what is otherwise invisible. As you rest tonight, imagine the tools of science as instruments of meditation. The radar pulses become gentle knocks on a door of ice, asking permission to reveal the hidden currents. Satellites float silently above, like watchful sentinels, recording subtle movements over time. Drills descend carefully, like fingers reaching into a world beyond touch. And all the while, the rivers flow, unconcerned with our knowledge, persistent in their motion, whispering their secrets only to those who listen patiently. In this chapter of discovery, we see both the ingenuity of humans and the endurance of nature. The rivers beneath ice exist regardless of observation, yet through patient work, we have begun to hear them, map them, and understand their significance. They remind us that even in frozen silence, life and movement continue, and that observation is not just about seeing, but about attuning to the rhythms that surround us. The hidden rivers are both teachers and companions. They show us that patience reveals what is unseen. They remind us that motion exists in darkness, that life persists in isolation, and that the world is far richer than we can perceive with our senses alone. To know them is to respect them, to appreciate the delicate balance between ice, water, and time, and to understand that discovery is a journey, not a destination. And so, we leave this chapter with a quiet reflection. The rivers have always been there, flowing beneath ice, shaping continents, carrying secrets of life, motion, and time. Science has merely learned to listen, to read the echoes, and to follow the currents, slowly, patiently, gently. A meditation on the invisible, a journey into the quiet heart of the frozen world. Beneath the ice, rivers move with patient persistence, carving paths invisible to the human eye. Though silent and unseen, their influence is immense. They are sculptors of the hidden world, shaping landscapes long before glaciers retreat, long before we ever set foot upon frozen plains. Every drop of water carries energy, every current rearranges sediments, and over centuries, these subtle motions leave marks that outlast the glaciers themselves. Consider the force of flowing water confined beneath kilometers of ice. Pressure presses the liquid against bedrock, enabling it to wear away stone, loosen sediment, and create channels that guide its own journey. Unlike surface rivers, these currents are not exposed to wind or weather, yet their work is no less transformative. The hidden rivers act as silent architects, moving steadily, slowly, shaping the very foundation upon which continents rest. Glacial valleys, fjords, and deep channels owe their existence, in part, to these rivers. As ice sheets advance and retreat, the water beneath lubricates the movement, deepening troughs, smoothing rocky beds, and redistributing sediments. The rivers carve landscapes in a way both subtle and enduring. Long after the ice has melted, their imprint remains. Polished rocks, sculpted valleys, and sediment patterns that tell the story of a hidden world in motion. Sediments carried by subglacial rivers are more than particles. They are messengers from Earth's past. Every grain of sand, every pebble, every layer of silt tells a story of pressure, erosion, and flow. Rivers beneath ice transport these fragments, redistributing them across hidden landscapes, shaping the ground in preparation for the future. They carry evidence of climates long gone, of landscapes altered and reborn beneath the frozen mantle. Imagine standing at the edge of a glacier that has recently retreated. Beneath your feet, the land bears marks of invisible forces. Channels carved by rivers you could never see, sediments deposited by currents you cannot touch. The ice above may seem static, but beneath, rivers once shaped this land with silent determination. Each valley, each trough, is a record of patient motion, a story of energy flowing quietly over millennia. Subglacial rivers also influence the speed and movement of glaciers themselves. Water beneath ice reduces friction, enabling ice to glide faster across bedrock. In places where channels widen or deep lakes form, glaciers surge. Where rivers are constricted, ice slows, accumulating pressure that may eventually reshape its path. In this way, rivers beneath ice are not just passive channels. They are active agents in the dynamics of the continent, shaping both water and ice together in a delicate balance. Their shaping power extends beyond mere geology. The flow of water transports nutrients, distributes heat, and even influences ecosystems that exist in isolated pockets beneath the ice. Rivers beneath glaciers are conduits for energy, matter, and possibility. They are both sculptors and carriers, silently orchestrating processes that continue long after the ice has disappeared, long after the rivers themselves are hidden from view. To imagine this work is to imagine patience itself. A subglacial river does not rush to carve a valley. It flows steadily, persistently, guided by gravity, friction, and pressure. Over centuries, channels deepen. Over millennia, landscapes are transformed. There is a quiet poetry in this persistence, a reminder that profound change often occurs in silence, without observation, without applause. The rivers teach us the power of time and the quiet endurance of natural forces. There is also a humbling lesson here. Human eyes rarely witness such processes, yet the scale of transformation is immense. Entire valleys, fjords, and sediment deposits are born in darkness, shaped by water we cannot touch. The hidden rivers remind us that much of Earth's work occurs unseen. Forces move in silence, shaping continents, influencing climates, and setting the stage for life on the surface, all while eluding our immediate perception. If you close your eyes tonight, imagine drifting with one of these rivers beneath the ice. Feel the slow, steady motion beneath kilometers of frozen silence. Sense the grinding of water against rock, the distribution of sediments, the shaping of valleys. Imagine time stretching endlessly, the river's persistence sculpting landscapes over centuries, a hidden rhythm guiding the world above. Let that rhythm lull your thoughts, as steady and quiet as the currents themselves. And as the river moves, consider its legacy. When the ice retreats, when the frozen surface yields to warmer skies, these hidden rivers leave a record written in stone and sediment. Valleys, ridges, and channels remain, evidence of patient motion beneath a frozen world. Life above may flourish, unaware of the hidden labor beneath. Yet all is connected: ice, water, sediment, and the landscapes we now traverse. The flow beneath the glaciers reminds us that change is not always immediate, that creation is often quiet, that persistence shapes worlds in ways we cannot immediately perceive. Subglacial rivers are both hidden and transformative, silent yet powerful. Their currents carry the story of our planet's past and the foundation for its future. They are, in every sense, the quiet architects of continents. As you drift towards sleep, imagine yourself moving gently above these hidden rivers, aware of the slow, steady currents beneath. Feel their patient shaping of landscapes, their quiet movement of sediments, their role in sculpting the continent from below. Let the image settle softly in your mind, a meditation on patience, persistence, and the invisible work of nature. Beneath frozen silence, the world is alive with motion. Beneath ice, rivers shape continents. And as we imagine them, we are reminded that the most profound forces are often those we cannot see, moving quietly, patiently, shaping everything above. Beneath the rivers and channels of ice, there are places where water pools, still and deep, isolated from the world above. Subglacial lakes lie hidden beneath kilometers of ice, shielded from sunlight, storm, and human touch. They are time capsules, frozen in secrecy, yet flowing with currents born of pressure and gravity. These lakes, like rivers, remain largely invisible, but their existence speaks of patience, endurance, and the quiet persistence of water beneath ice. Lake Vostok in Antarctica is the most famous of these hidden lakes, a body of water buried under nearly 4 kilometers of ice. It has existed for millions of years, sealed from the surface, untouched by air, insulated from the seasons and climates above. To imagine it is to imagine a world preserved in darkness, an ocean hidden beneath a frozen shell, stretching hundreds of kilometers in length, holding within it the history of Earth's past and the possibilities of life in isolation. The lakes are fed by subglacial rivers, slowly collecting water melted by pressure, friction, and geothermal heat. Currents circulate beneath the ice, carrying sediments, nutrients, and perhaps even life. Despite the crushing weight above, these waters move with a quiet grace, guided by subtle shifts in pressure and the contours of the bedrock below. They exist in balance, a delicate equilibrium between ice and liquid, weight and flow, stillness and motion. Scientists have drilled into Lake Vostok carefully, sampling water and sediments without contaminating this ancient environment. What they found astonished them: microorganisms surviving in total darkness, chemical processes sustaining life without sunlight, and traces of ecosystems isolated for millions of years. The lakes are not barren. They are alive, quietly, in a world so extreme that survival seems impossible. They are laboratories of resilience, teaching us that life finds a way even under the heaviest burdens. Imagine floating above such a lake in your mind, gliding over a smooth, dark surface hidden beneath ice. No light penetrates, no wind disturbs it, yet within, currents may move, carrying heat, minerals, and microorganisms through silent channels. The water itself is a repository of memory, chemical signatures recording ancient climates, sediments carrying remnants of landscapes long eroded, and perhaps even life that has evolved in isolation for millions of years. Each drop holds secrets that predate humans, civilizations, and continents as we know them. Subglacial lakes are more than reservoirs of water. They are archives of Earth's history. By studying their chemistry and sediments, scientists can reconstruct past climates, track changes in ice sheets, and understand the dynamics of the hidden hydrological systems beneath glaciers. Each layer of sediment, each chemical gradient, tells a story of pressure, flow, and time, offering insights into how continents have shifted and how life has persisted beneath frozen layers. The isolation of these lakes makes them extraordinary. For millions of years, they have remained cut off from sunlight, from the air above, and from the biosphere as we know it. Their ecosystems operate on entirely different principles, relying on chemical energy rather than photosynthesis. They are experiments of nature, demonstrating how life adapts, survives, and thrives even when cut off from the rhythms of the surface world. Consider the quiet majesty of a subglacial lake. From above, the ice appears solid, unbroken, endless. Yet beneath, water flows, sediments settle, and life continues. These lakes remind us that appearances are deceiving, that beneath silence there is motion, beneath stillness there is activity, and beneath isolation there is persistence. They teach us to look deeper, to imagine beyond the obvious, and to appreciate the hidden rhythms that shape our planet. Lake Vostok and other subglacial lakes are also windows into possibilities beyond Earth. Just as extremophiles survive in these isolated waters, so might life exist beneath the icy shells of moons like Europa or Enceladus. The lakes provide a model, a proof of concept, that life can persist in extreme isolation, sustained by chemical energy, pressure, and slow circulation of water. They invite wonder and speculation, urging us to imagine life beyond our familiar horizons. To rest with this image in mind is to contemplate patience on a planetary scale. The lakes have existed for millions of years, flowing quietly beneath ice, recording the slow passage of time, preserving life and history alike. They move without hurry, endure without complaint, and exist without observation. And yet, their presence is a testament to resilience, a reminder that persistence and balance can create extraordinary beauty even in the harshest environments. As you drift towards sleep, imagine these hidden lakes beneath ice sheets, silent and immense, carrying within them currents, sediments, and life. Picture the rivers feeding them, the ice pressing above, the geothermal warmth from below, all combining to sustain a world hidden from view. Let this vision settle softly in your mind. A secret ocean beneath ice, a reservoir of history, motion, and life, existing in quiet patience, shaping itself and the world above. And as you close your eyes, remember, beneath frozen silence, hidden rivers feed hidden lakes, and within these waters, life persists. History is preserved, and the quiet motion of Earth continues. The lakes are reminders that even in isolation, the world flows, endures, and whispers its secrets to those willing to imagine. Even beneath layers of ice, the Earth feels the warmth of change. Hidden rivers, long insulated from surface climates, are beginning to respond to shifts above. Glaciers that once seemed eternal are thinning, melting, and moving more rapidly. Subglacial rivers, the silent architects of frozen continents, now face new pressures. Their currents, once predictable over centuries, are stirred by a warming world, carrying both water and uncertainty beneath the ice. Imagine the ice sheets of Greenland or Antarctica, immense and white, reflecting sunlight and weathering centuries of cold. Beneath them, rivers flow steadily, patiently, carrying sediments, nutrients, and life. Yet as temperatures rise, melting at the surface increases, adding water to these hidden channels. The rivers swell. They flow faster. Lakes beneath the ice fill more rapidly, and the delicate balance that has persisted for millennia begins to shift. The movement of water beneath ice is not simply a matter of volume. It is a matter of power. When subglacial rivers expand, they lubricate the ice above more effectively, allowing glaciers to slide toward the sea with surprising speed. The hidden currents shape not just landscapes beneath, but shorelines beyond, influencing sea level and coastal environments far away. These invisible rivers, once silent and patient, now become active agents in a changing climate. Climate change does not affect all rivers equally. Some channels may awaken from dormancy, carving new paths beneath the ice. Others may destabilize, eroding bedrock and sediments, creating unpredictable surges. Subglacial lakes may overflow, sending pulses of water rushing through channels that have remained untouched for thousands of years. The quiet rhythm of these rivers is interrupted, replaced by a dynamic response to warming. Yet even as change accelerates, there is poetry in the persistence of the rivers. They adapt to new pressures, redistribute water, and continue to flow, guided by gravity and pressure. In this way, the rivers embody resilience. They remind us that nature is both fragile and enduring, sensitive to external forces, yet capable of continuing under extreme conditions. Even in disruption, there is a pattern, a flow, a quiet endurance. Scientists monitor these changes with radar, satellites, and sensors, tracing the subtle variations in flow and volume. The data reveal both wonder and concern. Subglacial rivers carry stories of Earth's past, yet they also signal the consequences of human activity. Glaciers respond to warming with shifts in speed and direction, and the hidden rivers beneath act as silent messengers, conveying the effects of change far beyond the frozen landscape. There is also a reflective aspect to this transformation. These rivers, unseen yet powerful, remind us that our actions ripple through the planet in ways we cannot always perceive. The warming above reaches beneath kilometers of ice, stirring waters that have flowed in darkness for millennia. They are a meditation on connectivity. Ice, water, atmosphere, and human influence intertwined in subtle, persistent ways. Consider the delicate balance maintained for eons. Ice presses down, rivers flow beneath, and the continents slowly evolve. Now, warmth disturbs that equilibrium. Currents move faster, sediments shift more rapidly, lakes rise and fall with new unpredictability. Yet the rivers do not cease. They respond. In their response is a lesson. Life, water, and motion persist, even in the face of disruption, adapting to circumstances, finding pathways, and continuing their journey through hidden landscapes. Subglacial rivers also hold implications for life beneath the ice. Microbes and extremophiles, adapted to stable, cold conditions, may experience altered environments. Nutrient flow changes, water chemistry shifts, and isolated ecosystems encounter new pressures. The hidden life beneath glaciers is witness to a changing world, responding silently to forces far above, illustrating resilience and adaptation in the most secluded reaches of Earth. As you imagine this, picture yourself lying above a glacier, feeling the heat of the sun in distant warmth, aware that beneath your feet rivers respond, carrying water faster, moving sediments, reshaping channels that have been still for centuries. Feel the rhythm of change, quiet yet insistent, and let it remind you that even in hidden places, motion is constant, and that the Earth responds to every pulse of energy, every degree of warmth. These rivers also invite reflection on humanity's role in the balance of the planet. They remind us that what appears distant or insulated is still connected to our choices. Glaciers, rivers, and hidden lakes may seem removed from daily life, yet their transformation echoes across continents and oceans. Rising seas, shifting landscapes, and altered ecosystems all carry the imprint of change, quietly communicated by rivers we cannot see. As you drift toward sleep, imagine the hidden rivers beneath glaciers flowing with new urgency, responding to a warming world. Visualize the swelling currents, the filling lakes, the subtle shifts in ice above, and know that within this change, there is still patience, resilience, and persistence. The rivers endure, adapt, and continue their quiet work, reminding us that motion and life persist even under pressure, even in darkness, even in the face of transformation. And as your mind relaxes, allow the thought to settle. Beneath frozen silence, rivers move, respond, and endure. They carry water, sediments, and life through a warming world, shaping landscapes and ecosystems in ways we are only beginning to understand. Their hidden currents are a meditation on persistence, adaptation, and the subtle, unseen rhythms of a changing planet. There is a rhythm beneath our feet that most of us never hear. A quiet pulse flows beneath glaciers, rivers carving channels in darkness, water moving patiently through hidden lakes, and sediments drifting in slow, unbroken motion. To listen is not merely to hear, but to imagine, to feel, to become aware of forces unseen yet profoundly alive. These hidden currents are the quiet heartbeat of Earth, and by attuning to them, we touch the poetry of a world beneath ice. Imagine lying on a glacier, the surface cold and still, snowflakes drifting silently around you. Beneath, the subglacial rivers move, shaping the land, carrying nutrients, and sustaining microbial life. Each flow is a note in a hidden symphony, every pulse a whisper from the deep earth. The rivers connect lakes, link sediments, and guide glaciers, reminding us that life and motion persist in places we cannot see. To listen is to recognize the persistence and patience inherent in all motion, whether visible or concealed. These currents are more than water. They are carriers of history. Sediments record ancient climates, traces of life, and chemical stories preserved beneath ice for millennia. Lakes beneath glaciers hold water untouched for millions of years, sustaining microbial communities in isolation. The hidden rivers transport these legacies, silently weaving together the past and present, showing us that movement and memory coexist even in darkness. There is life in this silence, small and resilient, adapting to conditions we would consider extreme. Extremophiles drift through subglacial rivers, thriving without sunlight, without warmth, in total isolation. They remind us that life does not always need the surface to flourish. Beneath the ice, ecosystems operate in secrecy, moving with currents, metabolizing chemicals, and persisting quietly, a testament to endurance and adaptability. To listen to the rivers is to listen to the subtle persistence of life itself. These hidden currents are also mirrors to worlds beyond our own. Europa and Enceladus carry oceans beneath ice, where currents may move silently, perhaps sustaining alien life. By studying subglacial rivers on Earth, we gain insight into what might exist on distant moons. The possibility that life thrives in darkness, guided by water and chemistry, shaped by isolation. Our rivers become models, teachers of patience, endurance, and hidden possibility. The rivers also shape continents, moving sediments and carving valleys beneath ice sheets. Their influence is invisible to the casual observer, yet profound. Glaciers glide more smoothly where rivers flow, valleys deepen, and landscapes emerge that will persist long after ice retreats. Even without recognition, the river's work is transformative, a reminder that the most powerful forces are often those we do not see, working quietly, persistently over millennia. Listening to these currents is an act of humility. We are reminded that the world operates on scales and rhythms far beyond our immediate perception. Subglacial rivers flow without observation. Microbial life persists without sunlight. Lakes remain isolated for eons. Yet each is alive, each is moving, each shapes the world in ways we can barely measure. To witness this is to witness the resilience of nature, the patience of water, and the quiet orchestration of forces beneath our feet. The rivers teach a meditation in motion. They are steady yet dynamic, silent yet full of life. They demonstrate how persistence, patience, and subtle influence can shape continents, sustain life, and guide change over time. By imagining their flow, we attune ourselves to rhythms larger than ourselves, larger than our daily concerns, reminding us of the depth and breadth of Earth's hidden worlds. As you close your eyes, picture the currents beneath ice. Flowing rivers, connected lakes, microbial life drifting in darkness, sediments moving like whispers across the bedrock. Imagine the slow, patient shaping of valleys, the subtle adjustments of glaciers, and the quiet persistence of life in the most extreme conditions. Let this image become a lullaby of motion, a meditation on hidden worlds, and a gentle reminder that beneath stillness, the Earth is alive. Even when we cannot see, even when we cannot touch, these rivers persist. They teach us about endurance, adaptation, and the invisible structures that shape our planet. They whisper stories of history, life, and the subtle dance of water beneath ice. To listen is to honor them, to imagine their movements, and to rest in the knowledge that the world beneath the surface is vast, alive, and endlessly fascinating. And as you drift into sleep, let the currents carry you. Let your imagination follow the rivers beneath glaciers, through hidden lakes, past microbial communities, and out toward distant icy moons. Feel the flow of water as a rhythm of patience, the quiet pulse of life in darkness, and the enduring motion that shapes continents and worlds alike. In this quiet meditation, you become part of the hidden currents, flowing with them, drifting gently through a frozen, unseen, and wondrous world. Tonight, as you lie still, let the rivers beneath ice remind you of the power of persistence, the beauty of the hidden, and the quiet grandeur of life beyond sight. Allow the hidden currents to guide your thoughts into peace, your mind into wonder, and your spirit into gentle rest. Listen, and let the invisible world beneath the ice lull you into sleep. Tonight, we followed the secret waters flowing under ice, rivers unseen, yet shaping worlds in silence. We drifted above glaciers and beneath frozen lakes, imagining currents moving through darkness, carrying sediments, nutrients, and life across hidden landscapes. From the patient motion of subglacial rivers to isolated lakes like Vostok, and even to distant icy moons, we witnessed the quiet persistence of water, time, and possibility. These rivers reminded us that life endures in the most hidden places, that motion continues in silence, and that the world beneath the surface is alive with stories waiting to be imagined. We discovered that even in isolation, in darkness, in extreme pressure, water and life persist, a testament to resilience, adaptation, and the subtle forces that shape our planet. Their currents flow quietly, patiently, like a gentle heartbeat beneath the frozen expanse of Earth. As you rest tonight, let your mind drift with the hidden rivers. Picture water moving beneath ice, sediments sliding slowly across bedrock, microorganisms surviving against all odds. Imagine subglacial lakes holding history, life, and energy in their still depths. And beyond our world, picture oceans beneath the icy shells of moons, flowing in silence, holding possibilities we can only dream of. Let these visions carry you into wonder and into calm. The hidden rivers teach a quiet lesson. Much of life and change happens beyond what we can immediately perceive. The world is alive in invisible ways, moving patiently, shaping landscapes, and sustaining life without observation or applause. In this, there is humility, awe, and a sense of connection. A reminder that we are part of a greater, flowing system where every ripple matters, even when unseen. If you enjoyed drifting with me tonight, remember to subscribe to The Thoughtful Night. Leave a comment to let me know where you are listening from. Your presence here makes this journey flow. Sharing your location, your thoughts, or simply your quiet company connects us across space and time, like joining the currents of the rivers beneath the ice. May your sleep be as deep as the rivers beneath the glaciers, and your dreams as quiet as the snow above them. Let the hidden currents guide your thoughts into rest, your mind into peace, and your spirit into gentle wonder. Drift with patience, flow with curiosity, and wake tomorrow carrying a fragment of this quiet, hidden world with you. A reminder that the earth is always moving, always alive, and always whispering its secrets to those who listen.